Hey guys, you most likely just watched the video that we just done.
Just did.
Which led you to this one. And
Yes.
it was just hosted by my good friend Erek on my channel, so I guess I'm gonna try and take the reins at this one at 8:45 in the morning and host this one on your channel.
Yep.
And we're doing my top 5 nostalgic games, the games that make me feel the most at home when I play or when I talk about.
Yes.
So we'll just dive right into it. Thanks for watching us here today. It's Phil and Bendigo. Haven't been here for a while.
No, you haven't.
Starting with, can you do this kind of? You do it so much better than I do. Starting with
Number 5.
Lost Kingdoms. I had to look back at my list because I'm going to forget that. Lost Kingdoms for the GameCube 1
Yes.
and 2, which you've actually played as well.
It's a really amazing game. Just remembering it. The only thing I can compare it to is like Yu-Gi-Oh meets Gauntlet.
It's very much like I forget how to pronounce it, but Bastion Kaidos.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that.
If you guys have played that game, it's actually very, very familiar, except a lot of the creature cards and monster cards and that actually come to life. It's almost like playing a Pokemon, but Yu-Gi-Oh style. Did you say Pokemon when you compared it?
Yu-Gi-Oh meets Gauntlet.
I'd say Yu-Gi-Oh meets Pokemon
Yeah.
meets Gauntlet with a Gauntlet feel. I first bought a GameCube. I remember I put it on lay-by at Big W, which... do you have Big W in America?
No, we don't. We have Walmart, Kmart.
It's like a Kmart or Walmart. I had it on lay-by. I went and picked it up, and it came in Lost Kingdoms 2, and I'd never heard of this before. I'd grown up on a lot of classic NES games and Marios and stuff like that, so I got this game, and I wasn't exactly excited to play it. But I played it because it was all that I had, that's all I could afford, and it blew my mind. It was absolutely amazing. And I remember me and my mum were trying to find the first one for what felt like a year. We were going around to game shops to try and find it second hand, and it's really uncommon. But we finally picked it up, and these 2 games are still in my collection today. I've said that a bunch of times, and it's the only 2 games in my collection that are actually mine from my past.
He recently did a game room tour, and I just remember, you show up to the GameCube stuff, and I saw Lost Kingdoms, and I'm like, I haven't seen these games since my childhood. Like, I had a childhood friend, my best friend when I was very, very young, and I remember going to his house and playing Lost Kingdoms. I was like, this is awesome, and I've always tried to remember the name of the game, and then it finally clicked when I saw his video talking about Lost Kingdoms. Like, oh, that's the game. I loved that game.
Something about those games, like, there's so many like dark points. And
It's a really dark game.
but there's a lot of like fun to it too. I don't know. It's just
Really cool.
It's an exciting adventure game. Just go play it if you haven't.
Yeah, totally recommend it. Number 4.
On our list is Star Fox Adventures. Now,
Wow.
I wanted to put this one on specifically because I feel like it gets a lot of hate.
It does.
But I grew up on this game and it's amazing. I don't get what people hate about it, other than the fact that it's not really a Star Fox game in the slightest.
Not at all.
It's a third-person action-adventure game, platformer, and it's just a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's really interesting because coming from my standpoint, I love Star Fox 64, and I remember going to Blockbuster to rent Star Fox Adventures, and I was like, this isn't what I wanted. Because it was originally meant to be, I forget, it was supposed to be like a 3D action platformer featuring Crystal, made by Rare, and they turned it into a Star Fox spin-off. Why they did that, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence that I don't really like the game, just because it differed so much and it shouldn't have been called a Star Fox game. But you, on the other hand, you love it.
If you take away the fact that it's Star Fox and pretend like a second like it's not, it's an amazing game.
Yeah.
And I honestly fail to see how anyone can dispute it. It's got really tight controls, in my opinion. It had a pretty poor voice acting, but it had a fun story, I thought, and a lot of really great levels to play and muck around on, and I don't know, I thought it was a great game. And then you just slap on that it's Star Fox, and as long as you don't get upset that it's not a Star Fox game.
Well, probably if I went back and played it now, I'd probably enjoy it a lot more because I love those type of games, and I can just kind of step away from like the Star Fox fanboyisms and just play it and enjoy it for what it is.
But you know what this is? It's nostalgia.
That's right.
I don't know, maybe it does suck. Maybe my eyes are blinded by nostalgia because that seriously happens a lot of the time. Like, I like Quest 64, which is something we went to
I
talk
love
about.
that game, but it sucks.
It sucks. But I love it. And people don't. But
I know, it's got the worst battle music ever though.
it's a crappy game. And I love it. Okay, and coming in at
Number 3.
is actually, I split this between 2 because I wanted to talk about Blades of Steel because huge nostalgia as far as it's one of the few games me and my brother could play and actually get along with at the same time because me and my brother never got along. But while we played this game, yeah, we had a lot of fun. We never threw the gloves down and got into a fight like they do, but
I've never played Blades of Steel.
it is the only sports game that I like. other than like Mario Kart, if you want to count that.
Sports
The only actual sports game was Madden and NBA and all that. This is the only one I've ever enjoyed and still play to this day. Really tight controls, really awesome gameplay. It's amazing.
It's got good music.
I thought I was going to talk about that a lot less than I did, but I did.
And
I've
talked about it.
I've split it with Maniac Mansion because that is my favorite NES game of all time, and I've played that a whole bunch.
We did talk about this before in another video, which
Yeah.
the title fails to come to my memory, but
Another reason why I didn't want to go on about it for too long, because I have talked about this game a lot on my channel, but it is definitely up on my list.
great music. Great music in that game.
Amazing music. Dave's theme, though?
Dave's theme, 10 out of 10.
Number 2 is the Pokemon world as a whole.
Yeah.
Everything in the Pokemon world, because it all kind of got mushed together growing up. I remember this game being this game and this game being this game because I tried to play as many of them as I can growing up, and honestly, even now, because I've never gone back and played through them, I get them confused. Because it is all the same
There's
game,
so many
essentially,
games.
just reskinned and put back out. So I do get them confused a lot, but I grew up on Pokemon. We just talked, this was the crossover reference to your video. We talked about how, I watched it in school for the first time, and since then I was hooked. And since then you've actually slapped me a bit and told me that Leaf Green is actually the originals.
Yeah, Leaf Green and Fire Red are the remake of the original Red, Blue, Yellow, and Green if you were in Japan. But the reason why we probably get confused is because there's so many iterations of the same game. You know, there's so many different colors, and then you move up to Silver, Gold, and then Crystal, and then from there Sapphire, Ruby, and then Emerald. It's just ridiculous, but I love it. I bought them all.
The other thing
Caught
was,
them all.
I caught them all. I know for a fact that I didn't have any of the original set, but I remember finishing one of them. And it's because you borrow games as a kid all the time. You borrow games from Blockbuster, you borrow games from friends, and so I really struggled to remember what I actually had. But yeah, no, Pokemon World, great series of games and entertains me to this day. Just
You know what I
finished.
miss? Link cables.
Yes.
I miss being able to send Pokemon through the link cable. It just blew my mind.
You know what's funny, actually? I have a boss at work who's probably about 40 years old, and he pulled me up yesterday and he's like, "You collect games, don't you?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Well, I got a couple, do you have a couple of Game Boy SPs and a link cable?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." "Why?" And he's like, "I got some Pokemon games and I want to transfer my Pokemon over, and I don't know anyone else that can do it." And I was like, "Come over, I'll take care of you."
That's really funny.
Yeah, it's good. Gaming brings everyone together in the weirdest of places.
It really does.
And coming in at
Number 1.
is Ocarina of Time. Typical, very extremely typical. Another game that I've talked about a bunch of times, but this is it. This is it for me. Just like your Super Mario 64, I missed out on that. This was my version, playing a 3D Link adventure game, going around to like all these weird, cool places with different races and like a mountain on fire and trying to save a princess in a castle, but actually feeling like for the first time that I was doing it. Because, I mean, you kind of do growing up. I remember playing a lot of NES and, like, Menace Beach. I felt like I was actually on a skateboard.
Yeah.
But it's not until you actually get thrown into that 3D world that you realize that how naive you might actually have been growing up.
I feel like our imaginations ran so wild when we were a kid, you know, that we could really easily latch on to the idea of being this, like, 3D hero in this 3D world in which we can run around in and save a princess. Like, it was just so easily attachable for kids our age, you know, if you new folk can understand that.
Just taking it from that 8-bit and then to that 3D Zelda,
Step.
our imagination could almost take a backseat because it was there. We didn't have to imagine any of that stuff anymore, and that blew me away. And also Majora's Mask as well. I had that one. I tracked that one down shortly after, and wow, that one was even better.
Well, I didn't play Ocarina of Time back in the day because I sold my N64 for Dreamcast.
That's so no. I was gonna get mad at you, but that's probably not too.
Yes, I sold all of my N64 stuff. No, I'm sorry, I sold it for a GameCube.
Oh,
I sold my Dreamcast and
now
my
I'm a little mad at
N64 for a GameCube. I paid $2 for it at EB Games. Brand new GameCube and Smash Brothers.
See, with the Dreamcast, you could at least claim that you had an experience that not many kids got to have.
I had a Dreamcast as a kid, but the weird thing about Ocarina of Time is that I rented it from Blockbuster, forgetting that I had no N64 at home, so I never played it. I never played it until it came out in 2011 with the 3DS, and I just sat through that and buried hours into it. It was an amazing, amazing experience. On a handheld, let alone like a TV with a controller back, 20 years ago.
There's a lot of things, a lot of games that I look at and I'm like, wow, playing that as a kid would have been so much better. I can't believe I missed out on that, like Banjo-Kazooie and Mario 64. Like, I feel like I done goofed hard. But the fact that I managed to actually get that in my hands and play Zelda and finish Ocarina of Time and finish Majora's Mask as a kid is
It's a big step.
that I can put under my belt and be like, wow, I did that, that was a thing, and it was an amazing experience.
The funny thing is that you look back at these games, it's like, how the hell did I play them as a kid, and how the hell did I beat them as a kid? I mean, like, Ocarina of Time is such a huge game. How would you figure that out without the internet?
I recently had my girlfriend try and play through Ocarina of Time, and she struggled. And I look at her and I'm like, I finished this as a kid, come on, like, you can do it. But it is actually pretty hard.
It's a tough game if you don't know what to do.
If you don't know what you're doing. But that's our list, and I hope you like it. Eric just told me about a music thing, which I'm sure you shouted out on your channel,
Yes,
right?
on my channel. I've talked about it many times. It's Retro Game Remix Volume 1. It's a 13-song compilation of a lot of well-known and well-loved video game songs throughout the years. Leave a link down below for Bandcamp. You can buy it completely free, or you can chip in a few dollars to go to Retro Game Remix Volume 2. Sorry, I'm talking a lot of words and not much time.
That's fine, I haven't slept at all when I drove like 9 hours yesterday. If you want to see the video we just done, there's a link here-ish.
Between our hands.
I don't have much stuff to shout out. I just started a Patreon, but I don't expect any of you guys on Eric's channel to support that, so...
Well, you should support it, actually. I haven't supported it yet, but I will. And you should also go to his channel, The Game Quest, which features me and a few videos and stuff, so if you like game hunting...
the recent 2 videos of the Game Quest are really, really great adventures.
Really
so
well made.
If you wanted to check them out, it does have your boy Eric in them, so that's... Okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's all from us. Do you want to end your video?
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing, and stay tuned for later videos, and I've got a lot of stuff in the works, so stay tuned.
Thanks for having me.
Anyways, guys, until
See you
next time.
Until next time.